Have you ever wondered how something as simple as washing your hands could change your health? What if I told you that a habit many of us overlook could be the key to avoiding serious illnesses? In today's video, we're diving into one of the most effective yet underrated habits for maintaining good health: hand washing. Stay tuned, because by the end, you'll understand why this small action could be the most important health tip you'll ever need. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Section 1. The importance of clean hands. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Ravi, an elderly gentleman who has spent much of his life surrounded by books, offering wisdom to everyone he meets. A retired teacher, his mind is sharp, his wit unparalleled, and his love for literature truly remarkable. However, there was one simple habit that Mr. Ravi overlooked, one that many of us, in our busy lives, often take for granted: the habit of washing our hands regularly. Mr. Ravi, like countless others, would often skip this simple yet crucial step, especially before meals. He believed it was unnecessary since his hands appeared clean to the naked eye, and he saw no visible dirt. But unfortunately, as with many of us, he underestimated the dangers that lie hidden beyond sight. Over time, Mr. Ravi began experiencing frequent stomach aches, followed by episodes of diarrhea that left him drained and frustrated. He couldn't understand why this was happening, as his diet remained unchanged, and he thought he was taking good care of his health. After weeks of struggling with these unexplained symptoms, he decided to visit his doctor, who took the time to explain something incredibly simple yet profoundly important. The doctor patiently told him that the root of his problem wasn't his cooking methods, nor was it the food he was eating. It was something far more basic: his hands. The doctor explained that hands, especially when not properly washed, are the perfect carriers of harmful bacteria and viruses. These invisible culprits can easily transfer into our bodies, particularly through the food we eat. Mr. Ravi was stunned. How could something so seemingly insignificant as not washing his hands cause so much harm? He had always been careful with what he ate, but he had never realized how much of an impact something so small could have on his overall health. The doctor, with a gentle yet firm tone, emphasized how crucial it is to wash hands thoroughly with soap and water before eating and after engaging in certain activities, such as using the bathroom or touching surfaces in public spaces. This simple act, the doctor explained, could significantly reduce the risk of infections, ranging from food poisoning to more severe respiratory illnesses. Taking this advice to heart, Mr. Ravi made the conscious decision to change. Within just a few weeks of adopting the habit of washing his hands properly, his stomach problems disappeared. The constant discomfort and the endless trips to the bathroom all became a thing of the past. He found himself feeling more energized, more alert, and most importantly, healthier than ever before. It was such a relief for him. Something so simple, yet so transformative. This story serves as a powerful and emotional reminder of just how impactful small, everyday habits can be on our health. Mr. Ravi's experience is not an isolated case. The truth is that something as simple as hand washing has the potential to change the course of our well-being, sometimes in ways we can't even imagine. We often overlook this basic act, thinking that it is unimportant, but the reality is that it's a line of defense against the invisible threats all around us. The World Health Organization, an authority we all trust, underscores the immense importance of regular hand washing. They remind us that something as simple as washing our hands can prevent a wide array of illnesses, ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases that can affect our lives in dramatic ways. It's not just about keeping our hands physically clean. It's about safeguarding our health against the countless germs that live on the surfaces we touch each day, from the door handles to our smartphones, from public transportation to the grocery store. Studies have shown that proper hand washing can reduce the risk of diarrhea-related diseases by up to 40% and respiratory infections by as much as 20%. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent lives saved, suffering prevented, and healthier communities. Hand washing, a habit that costs us so little time and effort, stands as one of the most effective tools we have in the fight against illness. It's a small action that holds immeasurable value, one that each of us can incorporate into our daily routine to protect ourselves and those we love. Mr. Ravi's story is a testament to how something so simple can have a profound, life-changing impact. It's a reminder that the key to maintaining good health often lies in the smallest actions, the ones we tend to overlook. So let's wash our hands, not just because we should, but because we deserve to feel healthy, to protect ourselves and others from the unseen dangers that could otherwise slip past us unnoticed. Let's make this simple habit part of our daily routine, for the sake of our well-being and the well-being of those around us. Section 2. The Hidden Danger of Unwashed Feet. Let me take you into the life of Grandma Lynn, a vibrant and passionate gardener in her later years. There was something magical about the way she spent her days, lost in the serene act of tending to her garden, feeling the warm soil between her toes, and immersing herself in the peacefulness of nature. Gardening wasn't just a hobby for her. It was her therapy, her connection to the earth, her joy. She would often walk barefoot across the garden, feeling the grass, dirt, and even the cool morning dew on her feet. To her, it was the most natural and grounding experience. But what Grandma Lynn didn't realize was that, as much as her gardening brought her joy and inner peace, it also placed her feet in an environment that was far from ideal for their health. The soil, while nourishing for plants, was a breeding ground for bacteria, fungi, and dirt that quickly accumulated on her feet. The moisture from the soil, combined with hours of contact, created the perfect storm for her feet to suffer. At first, Grandma Lynn brushed off the small signs of discomfort: mild redness, a little itchiness, and peeling skin. She thought it was nothing more than a minor nuisance, perhaps just a sign of getting older, and continued with her beloved gardening, unaffected. But, as time passed, those little irritations escalated into something far more alarming. Her feet began to hurt, the skin became raw, cracked, and unbearably itchy. Walking became a painful chore, and the very thing that had brought her so much joy, her gardening, was now a struggle. It was heartbreaking to see her spirit dim, as her once enjoyable daily routine turned into an agonizing battle. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. It wasn't until she visited her doctor that she finally understood the severity of the issue. The doctor explained to her in no uncertain terms that the root cause of her suffering was the neglect of basic foot hygiene. The dirt, moisture, and warmth trapped in the crevices of her feet had created the perfect breeding ground for fungi and bacteria, which had grown rampant, causing the painful infection. The realization hit her hard. She had been so focused on the love of her gardening, on the simple joy it brought her, that she had completely overlooked the well-being of the very things that carried her through life, her feet. The doctor gave her some simple but critical advice. Clean her feet thoroughly every day, dry them properly to avoid moisture buildup, and apply a good moisturizer to keep the skin supple and avoid cracks. He also recommended wearing breathable shoes while gardening, to allow her feet to breathe and avoid further buildup of dirt and moisture. It wasn't an instant fix, but slowly, Grandma Lynn began to heal. Within weeks, the pain started to fade, the redness disappeared, and the peeling skin healed. It was nothing short of a miracle to see her walking freely again, tending to her garden with renewed vigor and joy. But what's truly remarkable about Grandma Lynn's story is the valuable lesson it teaches us all. It's easy to take our feet for granted. After all, they're the workhorses of our body, carrying us through every day. But just like any other part of our body, they need attention and care. Neglecting foot hygiene isn't just about bad odors or unsightly feet. It can lead to serious infections, painful conditions, and even circulation problems, especially as we age. The truth is, our feet are vulnerable, and if we don't give them the care they deserve, the consequences can be devastating. Taking a few minutes each day to wash and dry your feet thoroughly isn't just a matter of cleanliness. It's about prevention. By caring for your feet, you not only avoid infections but also allow yourself to catch early signs of problems, such as sores or fungal infections, before they escalate. In a world where we constantly rush and forget to care for ourselves, Grandma Lynn's story is a reminder, a wake-up call if you will, that our feet deserve more than just a passing glance. They carry us through life, and they deserve our attention, our respect, and our care. It's a small act of self-love. Caring for your feet can be a simple, daily ritual that not only prevents pain and discomfort but also protects your mobility and health. And as we grow older, it becomes even more crucial. We owe it to ourselves to care for the parts of us that make everything else possible, especially our feet. Section 3. The often neglected armpits. Let's take a moment to meet Uncle Joe, a man whose warmth and kindness have always been the heartbeat of every family gathering. He was the type of person whose presence lit up any room, effortlessly making everyone feel welcome and valued. His jokes, his smile, the way he could share a story and have the whole room in stitches. He was truly the life of the party. But things changed drastically after his wife passed away. The joy that once filled his life seemed to dissipate, leaving behind a man who, while still kind-hearted, began to retreat into himself. The bustling energy of his home slowed down, and self-care, once so important to him, became a distant memory. As time went on, Uncle Joe began to withdraw from his usual routines. He stopped looking after himself the way he used to, both physically and emotionally. His daughter noticed it first. It wasn't just the sadness that seemed to weigh him down. There was something else. She started to notice an unpleasant odor every time she visited. At first, it was subtle, just a faint, musty smell that she could almost ignore. But as weeks passed, it grew stronger, more noticeable, and harder to ignore. Now, it's important to understand that Uncle Joe's family wasn't a group of people who avoided uncomfortable conversations. They were a close-knit family who loved and supported each other through thick and thin. But no one knew quite how to address the issue. They didn't want to hurt Uncle Joe's feelings, especially when he was already grieving the loss of his life partner. The subject of personal hygiene seemed so sensitive. How could they bring it up without making him feel self-conscious or embarrassed? But the problem didn't go away. It only got worse. Over time, Uncle Joe developed painful rashes under his arms. They were red, inflamed, and tender to the touch, making even the smallest movement feel excruciating. It was clear that the odor wasn't just an inconvenience. It was the result of something deeper. The skin under his arms, left unchecked for far too long, had become irritated and infected. Uncle Joe tried to dismiss it at first. Maybe it was just a temporary issue, he thought, but the pain grew unbearable. It was his daughter, with all the compassion in her heart, who finally mustered the courage to approach the subject. One evening, after dinner, when they were sitting together on the couch, she gently brought it up. "Dad," she said softly, "I think it might be time to see a doctor. I've noticed some things that are making me worried. You know I love you, and I want you to feel better." At first, Uncle Joe was reluctant. He didn't want to burden anyone with his problems, especially something as trivial as body odor or skin rashes. But his daughter's words, delivered with so much care and love, touched him deeply. He realized that she wasn't criticizing him. She was concerned about his well-being. Finally, Uncle Joe agreed to see the doctor, and it turned out that his lack of proper armpit hygiene had led to a buildup of sweat, bacteria, and dead skin cells. The warm, moist environment under his arms had become the perfect breeding ground for bacteria, which had resulted in both the persistent odor and the painful rashes. The doctor explained that this was quite common, especially for older adults whose skin tends to become more sensitive and fragile with age. Without regular care, the underarm area can easily become a place where odors and irritations fester, leading to discomfort and even more severe skin conditions. Following the doctor's advice, Uncle Joe began a simple routine. He started washing his armpits every day with mild soap, making sure to dry them thoroughly afterward. It wasn't a complicated or time-consuming process, but it made all the difference. Within just a few days, the foul odor that had haunted his home faded away completely. The rashes under his arms began to heal, and the pain that had plagued him for so long slowly eased. It was as though a weight had been lifted, not just from his body, but from his spirit as well. As his physical discomfort subsided, something else changed, too. Uncle Joe's confidence began to return. He started engaging with his family again, laughing, joking, and sharing stories as he had before. It was as though the man who had retreated into himself had finally come back to life. His energy, his warmth, his laughter, they all returned in full force. The simple act of taking care of his body, of paying attention to a small but essential part of his hygiene, had done wonders not just for his health, but for his overall well-being. Uncle Joe's story resonates more deeply than we might realize. The underarms, often overlooked and neglected, are one of the body's most active and sensitive areas. They are in constant motion and prone to sweating, which makes them particularly vulnerable to bacteria, irritation, and unpleasant odors. Without regular cleaning, they can quickly become a breeding ground for not only smells but also infections and painful skin conditions. Unfortunately, many people, especially as they age, forget just how important this simple hygiene routine can be. For older adults, maintaining basic personal care routines like washing the armpits is especially important. The skin loses its resilience as we age, making it more prone to irritation and infections. Using mild soap, avoiding harsh scrubbing, and making sure the area is completely dried afterward can keep the skin in the sensitive area healthy and free from unnecessary discomfort. Uncle Joe's experience serves as a powerful reminder of how something as small and easy as proper hygiene can significantly improve one's quality of life, boost confidence, and restore a sense of normalcy. It's easy to forget about such seemingly minor details, especially when life becomes overwhelming or when personal care feels like one more task in a long list of things to do. But the truth is, taking care of our bodies, even in the smallest ways, is an act of self-love. It's a way to honor ourselves, to show the world that we value our health and our well-being. Uncle Joe may have struggled for a while, but his story is a beautiful example of how, with just a little extra care, we can reclaim our lives, one simple step at a time. Section 4. The sensitive area around the neck. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Let's take a moment to talk about Aunt Rose, a woman whose presence could light up any room. In her 70s, she was the epitome of grace and sophistication, always impeccably dressed in elegant pearls, silk scarves, and carefully chosen accessories that highlighted her timeless style. Her charm wasn't just in her clothes, though. It was in the way she carried herself, with an aura of dignity and refinement that captivated everyone around her. Aunt Rose had always taken great pride in her appearance. She understood that how we present ourselves to the world speaks volumes about who we are, and she was known for her meticulous care in maintaining her elegant look. But as the years passed, even someone as poised as Aunt Rose could face challenges she never expected. One day, Aunt Rose began to notice a strange discomfort around her neck. It started as a subtle itching, something she could easily brush off as a temporary irritation. But before long, the itching became unbearable, and she couldn't ignore it anymore. She tried adjusting her scarves, thinking perhaps they were too tight or irritating her skin, but that didn't help. Instead, she started noticing small red patches forming in the folds of her neck, right where the skin creased. These patches weren't just uncomfortable, they were painful, tender to the touch, and left her feeling self-conscious. The sight of them, coupled with the constant irritation, made her increasingly anxious. At first, Aunt Rose tried a few home remedies, some soothing creams and natural oils she had used in the past for minor skin irritations. However, nothing seemed to work. The discomfort only grew worse, and she began to feel defeated. This was something she hadn't anticipated. Despite her age, she had always taken great care of her skin, from head to toe. How could something so simple, like an area of skin she had always overlooked, cause her so much trouble? The red patches persisted, and soon, the itching became unbearable. That's when she decided to visit her doctor. Her doctor was kind and understanding, listening carefully as Aunt Rose described her symptoms. He examined the area around her neck and gently explained what was happening. The folds of her skin, which she had never thought twice about, had become the perfect environment for sweat, dirt, and oils to accumulate. Over time, these substances created the ideal breeding ground for bacteria and fungi. As the skin around her neck became more delicate with age, it was no longer as resilient as it once had been, making it easier for infections to take hold. The diagnosis was a fungal infection, a condition that is more common than many people realize, but one that is often overlooked, especially in areas of the body that don't immediately seem prone to irritation. Aunt Rose was stunned. She had never imagined that something as simple as neglecting to properly clean the folds of her neck could lead to an infection. She felt embarrassed, as though she had somehow failed to take care of herself properly, despite all the attention she had given to the rest of her appearance. But her doctor reassured her gently, explaining that it was a common issue, especially as we age. Our skin becomes thinner, and natural oils and sweat can easily get trapped in skin folds, creating the perfect conditions for infections to develop. He advised Aunt Rose to make a small but crucial change to her daily routine, gently cleaning her neck with soap and water every day, ensuring the area was thoroughly dried afterward. He also recommended applying a light, non-greasy moisturizer to keep the skin soft and healthy. This new routine was simple but essential, and the doctor assured her that if she followed it, the infection would clear up in a matter of weeks. Aunt Rose followed the doctor's advice to the letter. Every morning and evening, she would take extra care to clean the delicate folds of her neck, gently washing the area and then carefully drying it. She even started using a soft towel to make sure no moisture lingered in the folds. At first, it felt like a small inconvenience, something that required a little extra time and attention, but she soon realized how much better her skin felt. The discomfort began to subside, and within a couple of weeks, the red patches were gone. The relief she felt was immense. Her neck was no longer irritated, and she could go about her daily activities without thinking twice about the nagging discomfort that had once taken over her life. Aunt Rose was thrilled with the results, but she didn't stop there. Her newfound awareness of the importance of neck hygiene made her passionate about spreading the word. She began telling her friends, particularly the older women in her social circle, about the importance of caring for the sensitive skin around the neck. She would gently remind them, "It's the little things we forget, those places we don't always think about, that can cause us the most trouble." Aunt Rose's experience highlights an often overlooked truth. The neck, and especially the folds of skin around it, can easily trap sweat, oils, and dirt. As we age, our skin becomes more fragile, and the risk of irritation, infection, and discomfort increases. We often think of our face, hands, and other parts of our body as needing the most attention, but the neck deserves just as much care and consideration. Regularly cleaning and drying this area not only prevents fungal infections, but also ensures that the skin stays healthy, smooth, and comfortable. This simple yet essential act of self-care can make a world of difference. It's not just about hygiene, it's about taking care of our skin, preventing long-term issues, and ensuring our comfort as we grow older. Whether you're wearing pearls like Aunt Rose or simply going about your daily routine, don't forget to give the sensitive area around your neck the attention it deserves. After all, it's the little acts of care and kindness toward ourselves that add up to a lifetime of well-being. Section 5. Intimate areas and their health. Let's delve into a topic that many people, especially as they grow older, tend to shy away from: intimate hygiene. It's a subject that often evokes feelings of discomfort, embarrassment, and even shame, yet it plays a critical role in maintaining our overall health and well-being. While we may not always want to discuss it, proper hygiene in our most private areas is something that cannot be overlooked, especially as our bodies change over time. Let me share with you the story of Mr. Bernard, an 80-year-old man who had spent his life as a proud and independent individual. Mr. Bernard was always a man who took pride in his health, his physical activity, and his self-sufficiency. For years, he had managed his health with confidence, assuming that his body would always function as it had. However, in the last few months, something began to change. Mr. Bernard started experiencing a strange discomfort, burning sensations and pain while urinating. At first, he dismissed it as something minor, perhaps just a result of aging. But the discomfort didn't subside. In fact, it worsened. The sensation became more frequent and more painful, and soon it began to interfere with his daily life. Simple activities, like walking or sitting for extended periods, became unbearable. Despite the mounting discomfort, Mr. Bernard struggled with the idea of seeking medical help. He felt deeply embarrassed by the thought of discussing something so personal with a doctor. After all, this was a man who had prided himself on his independence, and now he was faced with the reality that something so basic, something so private, was causing him distress. He kept telling himself that it would go away on its own, that it was just a passing inconvenience. But as the days turned into weeks, his condition didn't improve. It became increasingly difficult for him to ignore. His son, who had been concerned for a while, finally stepped in and encouraged him to visit the doctor. After much persuasion, Mr. Bernard reluctantly agreed. The idea of sitting in a doctor's office and talking about such a personal issue made him feel uneasy, but his son's persistent concern pushed him to take that crucial step. When Mr. Bernard finally saw the doctor, he was diagnosed with a urinary tract infection, UTI. The diagnosis, though not life-threatening, was a wake-up call. It made him realize just how important it is to pay attention to one's hygiene, especially in intimate areas. The doctor explained that neglecting to properly care for these sensitive areas could lead to UTIs, which are surprisingly common, particularly in older adults. As we age, our immune systems become less efficient, and our skin becomes more delicate and prone to irritation. This, combined with other factors like hormonal changes, can make older adults more susceptible to infections and skin conditions in these areas. Mr. Bernard listened quietly as the doctor gently explained that the real issue was not simply the infection but the neglect of proper hygiene that had allowed it to develop. He felt a wave of embarrassment wash over him, admitting that, as he had gotten older, he had become unsure of how to properly care for his intimate areas. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The doctor reassured Mr. Bernard, telling him that it was never too late to adopt better hygiene practices and that making some small but significant changes in his daily routine could lead to a substantial improvement. He explained that many people, especially as they grow older, find it difficult to navigate the changes in their bodies and may feel too embarrassed to ask for help or advice on these matters. But there was no shame in seeking guidance. It was a sign of wisdom and self-care. The doctor shared some simple but highly effective hygiene tips. Wash the intimate areas daily with lukewarm water. Avoid using harsh soaps or fragrances that could irritate the skin. Wear breathable fabrics that allow air circulation. And always ensure that the area stays dry, as moisture can encourage bacterial growth. At first, Mr. Bernard felt hesitant, unsure if these changes would make a difference. But with his doctor's guidance and encouragement, he decided to give it a try. Over time, he began to notice a significant improvement. The burning sensations and discomfort that had plagued him for so long gradually disappeared, and for the first time in weeks, he felt relief. Not only did his physical discomfort subside, but he also felt a renewed sense of dignity and confidence. The simple act of caring for his body in the way the doctor had recommended brought him peace of mind. Mr. Bernard's story is a poignant reminder that intimate hygiene is not a topic we should shy away from. It is not only a matter of physical health but also of emotional well-being, dignity, and self-confidence. As we age, it becomes even more essential to pay attention to these sensitive areas and ensure they are properly cared for. Neglecting them can lead to a host of issues, from skin irritations to more serious infections like UTIs. But with a little knowledge and a few simple changes to our daily routine, we can prevent these issues and maintain our overall health. Older adults, in particular, are more susceptible to infections and irritations in intimate areas due to the natural aging process, which can lead to decreased immunity and thinner, more delicate skin. Maintaining good hygiene practices, such as cleaning the area gently and thoroughly, choosing the right clothing, and staying hydrated, can go a long way in preventing discomfort and infections. However, this is not just about physical health. It's about preserving our dignity, our confidence, and our sense of self-worth. Sometimes, the most basic acts of self-care, like washing with lukewarm water or choosing the right fabrics, can have a profound impact. In Mr. Bernard's case, these simple changes transformed his daily life. He no longer lived in discomfort or fear of his body betraying him. Instead, he felt empowered, knowing that he was taking control of his health. It is a powerful lesson for all of us, a reminder that we deserve to feel good in our bodies at every stage of life. Taking care of our intimate areas is a small but essential part of that journey, one that can make a world of difference in our physical health and emotional well-being. As we wrap up today's discussion on intimate hygiene and its importance, I hope Mr. Bernard's story has highlighted the significance of taking proper care of our most sensitive areas, especially as we grow older. So many of us are hesitant to talk about these issues, but as we've seen, they can have a profound impact on our health and overall quality of life. From Mr. Bernard's experience, we've learned that maintaining intimate hygiene isn't just about avoiding discomfort. It's about protecting our dignity, preventing infections, and boosting our confidence. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from this video so far? Is there something new that you'll bring into your daily routine? Please share one thing you've learned and plan to practice in your own life in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Thank you for watching, and remember, taking care of your health is a gift to yourself.